This talk is about log cabin conservatives. So, if you're from the USA, you've possibly heard of log cabin Republicans, who are gays and lesbians in the Republican Party. But in Canada, we don't have a Republican or a Democratic Party. We have the Conservative Party, which is like your Republican Party. So today's talk is about log cabin conservatives. Um, Log cabin conservatives probably get kicked around, booted around, punched in the belly, kicked in the ass more than anyone else in Canada because gays and lesbians are universally reviled by conservatives in general. Nevertheless, these very brave souls usually find that conservatism is just the way their heart goes. And it's not the negativities of social conservatism that draw them to the Conservative Party. It is most likely old-fashioned values of being someone who's into doing hard work and, doing a fair day's amount of work for a fair day's wage. These people are drawn to the idea that you have to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. In other words, don't go looking for other people or the state to look after you. Look after yourself to the best of your ability. And these people are very much anti-laziness. In other words, they look around and they see an incredible number of people who have got their hands out. Give me a cigarette. Buy me a beer. Give me a ride. They got their hands out all the time and they're sitting around in the bar, or they're addicted to methamphetamine. And these kind of conservative people say, no, no, no. In other words, if you can find the money and the time to sit in the bar or the drug den, you can find the time to look for your work boots and get out there and, get a job and do what the rest of us do. Nevertheless, being in a party that also includes social conservatives, the log cabin conservatives are constantly wanting to, I don't want to hear your social conservatism. What is social conservatism? Social conservatism is often rooted in religion and certain passages out of religious texts that are a list of do's and don'ts. And quite often the do's and don'ts say, don't be involved with homosexuals.
Okay, I've switched costumes and I've switched locations. And continuing the story of log cabin conservatives, my t-shirt is Long Beach, California. This hat is Stewie from Family Guy. We don't have a really good picture of log cabin conservatives yet, because the things that I've told you so far are what a shill would tell you, a carny would tell you. They're not very good descriptions of log cabin conservatives. In any particular situation, you've got the content, which is the linear, what's going on in the moment, and the context, which is the non-linear. Someone wants to know if you can have one without the other. No, in order to get the full human experience, you need to have the context and the content. The context of log cabin conservatives is politics. And more than politics, it is the expression of power. In Political Science 101, the professor talks about how you can divide up the population into segments, and there's only one segment of the population that's even interested in power. A great proportion of people have no interest whatsoever in political matters. And then among those that are interested in politics, it's a very small group that actually want to be directly involved. I mean, quite a number of them are just interested in, expressing their view, but not actually implementing the view. Very small number of people in any country are actually interested in exercising the levers of power. It seems very strange, if you're one of the politically active people, to think that there are people, and you meet them all the time, that have no interest in politics whatsoever, and you think, how can you be such a dummy? Okay, we got a new hat. The next little segment is about quality. I was going to pick up a pair of sunglasses out of my little bin that I keep all my sunglasses in. Well, I did. I picked out a pair of white sunglasses that I got from the beer company as a giveaway. They were Miller Lite. And lo and behold, when I picked them out of my sunglass bin, the frame was broken. And then I examined the sunglasses and came to the conclusion that the cheap plastic they were made out of probably wouldn't take to fixing with crazy glue. It's that kind of plastic that just doesn't seem to stick. And then I got to thinking, You know, if you're going to go and bother making up these giveaway sunglasses, and you know, they're decent lenses, they work, and yet they chose a certain kind of plastic that the manufacturer knows is shitty plastic and is going to break very easily. And yet they chose that most likely because the manufacturer gave them a very good price on this shitty kind of plastic. In the olden days, it's probably true that certain kinds of materials cost more than others. So, I mean, in the 1930s, aluminum would have been very expensive compared to balsa wood. So, in the 1930s, a lot of aircraft were made from balsa wood, very lightweight wood, and economically it was available and it was easy to work. The aluminum is not easy to work and is expensive, but it is also lightweight, like balsa wood. But in today's day and age, one kind of plastic versus another kind of plastic, as far as cost goes, negligible difference. A few molecules different in the polymer, and you've got a much more flexible kind of plastic that doesn't snap easily. And yet, Miller chose the cheapest sunglasses, and the manufacturer said, it's not going to cost me anything less to make them this cheap. It really doesn't. But illogic says we're going to provide these sunglasses that are most likely going to get chosen by the beer company, and they will go out to the beer company's customers and they're going to snap after a few wearings. And what's people's opinion going to be? Well, the opinion is the beer company is well, you don't get a good impression about the beer company whatsoever. I mean, it had Miller Lite on them. Who else are you going to blame? Well, you're thinking Miller Lite doesn't give a rat's ass about their customers. They give away stuff that's going to break, which, you know, it was all going to end up in the landfill. Huge amount of waste. I don't have a good opinion about you. But I immediately go to the manufacturer. I don't know who manufactured these glasses, but my opinion is they chose to put these out as their low-cost product, as most likely was going to be chosen by Miller, because they were going to make a huge order of these giveaway sunglasses. And we didn't save any money, but our reputation is we make cheap Chinese shit. Because everyone knows everything gets made in China on the dirt cheap. But for a few molecules different in material science, we could have had some decent sunglasses. Planned obsolescence. What's it got to do with log cabin conservatives? I'm coming over here to get away from the wind. Sometimes people complain about the wind making too much noise. I didn't answer my question. What do cheap sunglasses got to do with log cabin conservatives? What does anything have to do with anything else? We are overlaid with content and what is the ultimate context? if you're in politics and you really want to get your agenda done, well, if you're a log cabin conservative, there's not enough log cabin conservatives to take power, question mark. So generally you look for allies. They may not have the exact same goals as you, but they might have a number of similar goals as you. Or you might be there because you just being there is going to stop some of these other extreme goals that are really anti-homosexual from coming into practice. And if you weren't there, then the whole point of view of the homosexual would be ignored and steamrollered.